Let's give some love to Karen Drucker, everyone. Oh my gosh, that was so incredible. I love you. I love your spirit. Your music has been such an inspiration to me and to millions of lives. And just feel that. Isn't that wonderful? And Karen, you're such a perfect example, as many of us are, of what it actually means to say yes to a deeper calling. And that's what we're exploring today. We're exploring what it means to say yes to the summons of your soul, being summoned to this new way of being summoned to living a life from vision, deeply connected and trusting that we can say yes to spirit, that spirit within us, that place within us, that presence that's never in absence, as Reverend Michael says, never in absence, always available right here. And I really love that we're starting with the no. I think that is so powerful. And a lot of times I've noticed in New Thought, we don't really spend a lot of time there. So I really appreciate that in order to say yes, sometimes we say no. So I also want to just invite us, before I even dive in today, to tune into the frequency of gratitude. We started our service with that incredible song. And as we were being in the experience of gratitude, I was reminding myself that gratitude is not a thought. I mean, it is a thought. Gratitude is not only a feeling, it is a feeling. Gratitude is actually a way of being, it's a frequency. And that's the power of music as well, because we started moving our bodies and we started getting in touch with what gratitude feels like and what it means to actually be the frequency of gratitude. And that really is the message today. The message really is to tune into the frequency, or what we call vision, or a life based on visioning, and how that's different than a life based on ego. And I want to start with something about ego, because that poor ego's gotten a bad rap. I don't know if you've been in spiritual circles where they say, let's get rid of the ego. I'm going to confess something. I may have said that myself, or I may have even believed it at one point. Let me get rid of this ego. As a matter of fact, when I was learning to meditate in my early 20s, I wanted to learn to meditate. And I don't know if people were really saying this, or this was what I was hearing, or some kind of combination. But I heard that the intention in meditation was to quiet the mind. And so I set about trying to quiet my mind. Has anyone else tried that? And how has that gone for you? Because if you've learned, please let me know how you've learned to quiet the mind. And so my meditations looked something like this. I can do this. This is the inner dialogue. That I can do this. I'm going to set the timer. I'm going to try for 5 minutes, which was just an eternity for me, because I had spent a lifetime running from the experience of now, my thoughts, my feelings, my own physicality. I had spent so many years running from it that tuning into it was a foreign concept for me. So I would set the timer for 5 minutes and I would sit down and I would say, okay, mind, be quiet. And if I'm going to be really honest with you, this is what it sounded like. Shut up, shut up. Why, God, be quiet. And I realized at one point that I had a very violent relationship with my thoughts and with my mind. And at some point, I heard a teacher say, the intention in meditation is not to quiet the mind, it's to observe it. And as soon as I heard that, everything changed for me. As a matter of fact, she went on to say that, those meditations that are really uncomfortable and brutal, those might even be more useful than the ones where we experience those bliss moments, those blissful moments. And something within me had a profound shift, because I realized at that moment, in a different way, that I had been chasing the bliss. I will be happy if my mind would stop this, if my mind would just stop this constant narrating, opinionating, perspectiving. Is that a word, Reverend Joan? Perspectiving. If it's not, it is now. So what does it mean to become the observer? What does it mean? Because then what happened for me as I began to practice that, then the question was introduced. If I'm not my thoughts, I'm an observer of my thoughts. Who or what is the observer? And then I became really curious about what it means to observe and at what place am I observing from? And of course, at that point, I had started attending New Thought, and I started hearing this message that there is a place within us that is unchanging, unharmed and unharmable, that that source within us is a source of great power and intuition. And something powerful shifted for me, and I had an experience. I had this experience of oneness. And then I spent the next 2 decades trying to figure out what had just happened. I experienced oneness. I had a profound spiritual experience. And it came as a bit of a surprise to me, but I had touched reality. And in that moment, I realized that everything that I had called reality previous to that moment was really the illusion of the mind. So what shifted for me at that moment was, oh, this isn't about getting rid of anything. This is about becoming aware of where I'm tuning in. What frequency am I tuning into? Moving beyond the experience of good and bad and right and wrong. That's what lives in the ego. And it's incredible. It's useful. We wouldn't be getting anything done without our egos, right? We would be pure source energy. Perhaps we're going to return to that. Perhaps we've lived there before. But for whatever reason, whether we've chosen it or our soul chose it, or someone else chose it, we chose in some way, there was a choice to incarnate on planet Earth. And on planet Earth, the mind is incredibly useful. For me, the issue was when I believed my own thoughts as the ultimate truth. Now, we can lean into this a little because, as Karen so beautifully said, the sacred no. For me, the sacred no is a no to the old BS belief systems that have kept me feeling stuck and limited. Not because they're bad or they're wrong, but because they're a particular frequency that creates a very predictable outcome. It's actually profoundly simple when I really get it, when I really have the embodied experience of source energy. When I have that embodied experience, then I can recognize something as simple as, oh, when I tune into the old narrative that I'm limited or broken or damaged or not enough, or she's better than me, or I'm better than him, all that comparison that happens, when I tune into a recognition that there's nothing fundamentally wrong with that, but there's a predictability there. When I believed I was broken, I acted broken. I chose relationships to confirm my own brokenness. The law is incredible and it works 100% of the time. The frequency I tune into is what we create. Now, I want to say a word about something here. There was a point in my own evolution when I began to understand that thoughts create reality and frequency creates reality, and I wasn't really happy with what my life looked like or the outpicturing. And I went into something that I now understand is a pretty darn low frequency. Not bad, but pretty low frequency, and that is blame. I started to blame myself for the conditions of my life. So I kind of shifted from let me blame the world for the conditions of my life because oh God, I'm just going to tell you the truth here. I loved being a victim until I didn't. There was something about like, oh, poor me, the world is happening to me. And then New Thought helped me to recognize that I'm creating reality moment to moment. I started by understanding that thoughts created reality. And then I began to understand it was really the frequency that was creating reality. And then I moved from blaming the world and I kind of went into a little bit of blaming myself. I almost always, every time I speak, find myself quoting this particular quote from Krishnamurti. The highest level of human intelligence is to see ourselves without judgment. So I started to look at what got created when I blamed myself for the conditions of my life, and what might get created when I can gently, and sometimes not so gently, say no to the old program. Gently say, oh, if I have had the power to create this reality, I can in a moment shift it to a different reality. And that's really where this topic comes in: a life based on vision. When I am able and willing to tap into and recognize this infinite source of energy that we can call God or source or love or light, when I recognize that that is reality, and when I tune into it, there are messages that are received from this place of vision that my mind could have never created. And as I said in the reading, an important part of this for me is when I'm tuned into vision, it's not just about me. It's never been just about me. When I'm living in my mind, just to be really honest, it's a lot about me. Oh, I want to be more fabulous. I want to be more healthy. I want to have more stuff. I want to have more loving relationships. And that's all wonderful, because we do want to have wonderful and incredible lives. And then there have been moments in my life when I understand what it means to truly tap into vision and say yes to that, because it is one thing to receive messages from vision, and it's another thing to say yes to them and then take action from them and as them. And I want to speak for a moment about how visioning is so powerful. And I know that we all know this, because we can live our lives from vision individually. We can live it in our relationships. We can live it in our businesses, in our spiritual communities. And the power of visioning is something that when I experienced it, it was beyond understanding. It was an experience of, oh, wow, life can be profoundly simple. What I discovered was that there is a frequency or an energy to vision or to thought. Thought, in my experience, the energy is a little bit more about comparison. It's a little bit more about how do I figure out how to make this happen? One way I know that I'm in what we could call ego, and again, a reminder, ego is not bad or wrong. Ego is incredibly useful. In my experience, the issue with ego is when I believe it's the ultimate truth and I forget that there is information deep within each and every one of us that's more powerful than what the mind can create, because the mind is a set of beliefs or ideas or perspectives, and spirit is infinite. And so the frequency of creating from the mind for me has a little bit, I don't know, there's a little bit of tension in that energy. One way I know that I'm living more in my ego, and again, not bad, just asking the question, what does it create when I'm living from there and as that, and what gets created when I live as spirit? One way I know I'm living in ego is I ask why a lot. Why does this keep happening? Why do I keep doing this? Why is my vision not manifesting? Why have I not manifested that perfect partner? I've gone to 12 workshops. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. Then we tap into the infinite beingness of spirit, the infinite energy of spirit. And in my experience, there is an ease there. There is a relaxing that happens. The body can let go. The mind can relax. My heart can open. Oh, yeah, this is it. And once I have that experience, then I have an opportunity of choice. I can either choose to ignore it, I can choose to be with it, I can choose to talk with my friends about it. I don't know about this. I'm getting this message. Or I can choose to trust it and know it and absolutely tune into the frequency and understand two very powerful things. One, that vision will always manifest when I trust it exactly when it is intended to. And two, I can trust that I have everything within me to be a part of bringing this vision into manifestation. So when I say yes to the summons of my soul, sometimes surprising things happen. For example, many of you know some years ago, the vision came very clear to me that my intention and my purpose, at least at this point, is to bring conscious recovery to the world. And Karen, my sacred no at that moment was saying no to being senior minister of Agape Bay Area. And my mind did not really like that because I love y'all and I was having fun with that. I loved that. I love all of you and I love the connection and I loved our Sundays and I loved like Helen on stage singing and everything about it. I loved. Spirit had a different call. Sometimes saying yes to the summons of our soul comes up with some surprising things like moving to Los Angeles. Who would have ever guessed? I was in San Francisco for 29 years and my mind was very comfortable with that. As a matter of fact, I would say things like, I can't imagine where else I'd ever live. This may be where I'm going to live for the rest of my life. And then that spiritual self, and I want to be clear, this isn't something within me, right? Like not within me, like something that gets placed in there. It's simply a deeper awareness of our true nature. So my true nature has some information for me that isn't mind-based, but knowing. And we can shift from the why, and we don't even have to do the how. I just want to acknowledge Reverend Joan at this moment because, Reverend Joan, you are someone who has been such a powerful demonstration of what it means to live a life on vision. And you have dedicated visioning as a powerful practice to Agape Bay Area and the unfoldment of it. You know, Reverend Joan was, she officiated, she was the minister at my wedding, at our wedding, mine and Will's. And what did we do? We visioned. We visioned our relationship. We visioned our wedding. And, you know, I hear people talk about how stressful weddings can be. There was no stress. We met, I think, one Friday every month for like 4 or 5 months before the wedding. And we simply visioned, and Reverend Joan led us in that. And we received messages from Spirit and as Spirit that guided us to the perfect unfoldment of the wedding. And the reason I'm sharing this is a very practical example is if I would have thought, oh, I know how I think it should look, and then Will had a different idea, what would we do with that, right? Would we debate it? Would one of us have to surrender? Would one of us have to compromise? Would we think, I don't really want that, but you know, I'll let him have his way. When it comes from vision, it's like, oh yeah, that's so much greater than what I imagined. And then we're all in it and we're all saying yes to this place of deeper vision. And then life can surprise us. And the last thing I want to share about, because this is something very real for me at this moment, sometimes we say yes to a vision and there's this incredible burst of manifestation and this incredible, just impressive burst of growth. And then there are those moments when even I've said yes to the vision, sometimes in the outer realm, it's not quite going the way I had hoped. Not quite. Oh, where's this next thing going to be? What's that going to be next? Oh, what do I need to do? And then I return to the vision because the vision holds the power. It's not the individual me that's so powerful. It is Spirit. And then the connections naturally happen. I had the honor of doing a show the other evening with Gabor Mate, Russell Brand, our beloved Michael Beckwith. This came from vision, not from, oh, I want to connect with these people and how do I get on Russell Brand's podcast? Because that's how my mind is. And then I return to Spirit and say, what is the deepest possibility for my life today? And the deepest possibility is about a frequency of serving this new paradigm of oneness. As our beloved Reverend Michael says, we're not here to save the world. We are here to serve the new paradigm. And when I tune back into the frequency of the vision, and for me, by the way, a powerful moment happened for me when I wrote my own personal mission statement. Now, those can change, but mine hasn't in all these years because it came from vision. And when I tune back into that personal mission statement, which, by the way, isn't I want a bigger house or a more fabulous car, the vision is about serving the world from the paradigm of oneness, from being a witness to and a catalyst for the transformation that it is at hand, where the old paradigms of control and domination are crumbling, and where we have an opportunity as conscious beings to usher in this new consciousness, not from a place of fighting, but a place from standing in the truth that oneness is at hand, that empowerment is at hand, that the old ideas of good, bad, right, wrong, not enough are over. In New Thought, we know that when we know that when we know, and we affirm from that place, we don't do affirmative prayer to change the world or the universe. We do it to simply tune in our consciousness to the greater reality that it's all already here. I spent so many years living in a destination addiction. When I can learn how to do this better, I will be happy. When I manifest that relationship, I will be happy. And then I discovered the powerful practice of trust, trusting the vision, knowing that there's a place within me that holds infinite information that my mind can't even grasp. That's what it means to live a life on vision. We say yes to that call, to that place within us that is spirit. Then we can say no to anything that doesn't look like it, but not in an aggressive way, in a loving way. Oh, no, thank you. I'm not here to report from the paradigm of not enoughness or illness or separation or fear. I'm here to say, I'm not fighting that. I'm not pretending like it's not here. I am in the midst of that, recognizing a greater reality. And that is the most powerful spiritual truth that Jesus the Christ came and was said to have said, to be in the world, but not of it. To be in the world, but not buying into the frequency of division. Being in the world and being of spirit. Of spirit. That's who we've come here to be, and that's who we are. So with that, I invite us to take a moment and go within as we shift into affirmative prayer. Taking a nice deep breath together. Tuning into the frequency of gratitude. Grateful for all that is. Grateful to know that there is one power and one presence. Ultimate reality. The truth of who and what we are. I know this power is my life. And it's the life of each and every one of us. Connecting in this moment through Zoom, on Facebook Live. And it is the ultimate reality of every living being on this planet, in this cosmos. Yes, we know there is one. And we say yes in this moment, living from that place, that space, that greater reality, the place of our own unharmability, infinite beingness. And because we have come here today to gather, to know this, to feel this, and to be this, a profound shift has happened in our own lives, in the life of our planet, and in the universe. The only thing that's changed is our awareness of a greater truth. Taking a moment to feel that, to know that. And the call is to be that in the world, each in our own unique way. Every gift that we have from our ego, we say yes and we say thank you. We use those gifts to deliver spirit into the world right now. No one's better, no one's worse. We're all one. We are each here to be our own unique expression, not someone else's. Feel into that for a moment. I have been called today. I say yes to the summons of my soul. And of course, we know that in the realm of spirit, it's always a yes. And so we feel into our sacred yes. And in great and deep gratitude, I pass this word now to our beloved Reverend Verona.